So anyway, thanks so much for coming down. As I said, I'm very excited to have you here. Vienna beef is probably my favorite product in Chicago, and so we were so happy to have you.
Well, thank you for having me. I'll echo that and say that Vienna beef is probably my favorite food product in Chicago.
Sure.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Maybe even before you started working there.
Yeah, I grew up in Chicago, so just like most Chicagoans, I grew up eating Vienna hot dogs, Vienna Polish, Italian beef. It's pretty part of my culture.
Yeah, like all of us, the Maxwell Street beef. I mean, the Polish and the beef it's iconic.
Yep, sure is. It's probably worth spending a second describing what all three of those foods are for the listeners, just in case you aren't from Chicago. But, I'll start with the Chicago-style hot dog. I am proud to say that over 90% of the hot dog stands in Chicago carry Vienna beef.
Wow.
Which is pretty remarkable given that there are more Vienna beef hot dog stands in the Chicagoland area than Wendy's, Burger King, and McDonald's
Is that right?
combined.
Really?
Combined.
That
So we're talking about thousands of
makes sense.
restaurants
Whoa.
that in total are larger than any of the chains that we're more familiar with, maybe from a branding standpoint. But that being said, the famous product that they serve is the Chicago-style hot dog. And what that means is a Vienna beef hot dog, which can be done many ways. It could be steamed, it could be boiled, it could be grilled, but on a high gluten bun, which is typically poppy seed,
Or one of my favorites.
and steamed on top of it.
The char dog.
Char dog,
Love
for
the
sure.
char dog.
Yeah.
First
Oh.
boiled, then grilled. Oh, love the char
Yep.
dog.
Get out of town. That's
But you take that base hot dog and bun, Vienna beef hot dog and a poppy seed bun, and you load it with what I call the 7 sacred condiments. So when you put the condiments on a Chicago-style hot dog, you're kind of dragging it through the garden. So you start with yellow mustard.
Okay, let me interrupt you because I'm going to talk about dragging it through the garden.
Sure.
Because I use that term all the time, and when I get to tell people, hey, and they get so I never heard that term. I'm like, well, yeah, you got to drag it through the garden.
Before you-
so I'd
before
like
you
to
go-
pass that along and pass that tradition to others so that they know what that
That's
is.
right.
So you're
because-
glad I said
Yes.
drag it through
Yeah,
the garden.
absolutely.
Now, both
absolutely.
of you guys, again, Tom, you're a Vienna beef guy. You're about to go into Dragon Through the Garden. And Attorney Stephen Leahy, as we just mentioned, but for everybody kind of just tuning in right now, Attorney Stephen Leahy, he's really known for giving away hot dogs during special events. For the law office has been giving away hot dogs for years. You helped go through law school by putting that hot dog stand out
there.
downtown. So you know everything about Vienna beef hot dogs, and also too how to.
I will know everything about
Yeah,
it
you will,
after
yeah, yes,
today.
yes.
I will know
So
everything.
go into
about
I'm
it.
just going to add some tidbits to your knowledge base. That's all.
So go through Dragging It Through the Garden.
I'm sorry, I didn't want to interrupt
Yeah,
you,
yeah,
but that's a huge term, that I think that
Right.
classic Chicago, drag it through the
All right,
garden.
so we got the Vienna beef hot dog, either natural casing or skinless. We've got it in a poppy seed bun, although it's acceptable to put it in a non-poppy seed bun as long as it's a beautiful, soft, steamed bun. Then you layer that with yellow mustard, some bright green, which I call neon green relish. Then you put on some more vegetables, which would be chopped white onions, some ripe tomatoes, either as sliced tomatoes or as chopped tomatoes. Then we start putting on some of the green ingredients, and that would be a pickle, either a spear, or Stephen likes to use what we call a plank, which is cut long ways rather than short ways. Short ways would be a chip. And then kind of the secret sauce, if you will, is a sport pepper or two on either end of that hot dog, which is a kind of a spicy pepper, and then finally celery salt.
The key ingredient to a hot dog. You could.
My mouth is
Now, I
watering.
like it all myself, but you could cut anything else out, but don't cut out the celery salt.
Right. But
I
if you
want to know what makes the celery salt so special. What does it add to the hot dog?
just another layer of flavor, and you got to understand that all those ingredients kind of are like an orchestra. They come together with sweet, with salty, with hot, with cool, and all of those ingredients kind of together are magic. But the celery salt actually does add one more kind of a spicy flavor to the whole sandwich, and it's just kind of the way to authenticate it. Now, what's interesting is many of those ingredients you can't get outside of Chicago. You can't buy a sport pepper in a store
amazing.
outside of Chicago. You can't buy neon green relish. You might find dark green relish, but not the cool Chicago relish. And then, of course, celery salt is something that you'd probably find in every grocery store in America, but it's hidden, in the
Exactly.
McCormick
Deep in the
spice
bag.
rack.
Yeah, in a little tiny.
Not
But
in a,
most importantly, they can't find Vienna beef products.
not outside of Chicago very well. We have some markets we do sell in grocery stores, for example, Arizona and many of the states that surround Illinois, like Indiana, Michigan, Wisconsin. But otherwise, there's probably 90% of the U.S. that you can't buy it in a grocery store, which people in Chicago think we're a national retailer. We're only national from a food service standpoint. So you can get our products in hot dog stands across the country, just not in grocery stores across the country.
See, that's important. Now,
And I guess the difference would be too is that, as you pointed out, they might have hot dog stands in other cities, but not in the numbers that we have. They have to search them out and find them.
Exactly. I mean, you might go to, I don't know, Dallas, Texas, and there's 3, whereas here we're in the thousands.
Yeah.
There's some very good markets, though, that are per capita relatively aggressive, like Chicago. One would be Arizona, but think about it. There's so many transplanted people from
Chicagoans,
Chicago that
absolutely.
live in Arizona.
Absolutely.
All the
Florida's another one, isn't it?
Florida's another one. California / Pacific Northwest would be another. Colorado's a pretty good market for us, but we do recognize that 50% of our company revenues come from the city and suburbs of Chicago.
and that's incredible. That's absolutely incredible. Again, Vienna beef is Chicago, and we look forward to it because we're running out of time here, and we got about a minute left. But I mean, just sitting down and talking with you about really, what it means to be a Chicago company, and that's what this show really entails. We're local guys. We're trying to support local businesses. I know you don't need support because you guys have such a foothold, but we wanted to bring you on and feature you because you're the hot dog man.
I'm the hot dog guy.
I can't get that.
Steve's the hot dog man.
But
But,
I just eat them because I'm sitting here salivating.
I am
that's-
too. It's like-
as he's like explaining the hot dog, I'm like, wow,
we
that
haven't
sounds
even, we haven't even
good.
talked about Polish yet or anything else.
Oh,
today.
wow. I like the Vienna beef, Italian beef.
Yeah.
We'll get there. We'll
So,
get there.
But
Believe me.
before we get there, I got to tell you about this company. It's called Opem Tax Advocates, and their phone number is 312-664-6649 or visit chicagotaxteam.com. They're the sponsor of this show. They're fantastic. And we're going to continue our interview with Tom McLeod. He's with Vienna Beef, and we're going to be talking more about Vienna Beef products and what it means to be Chicago when we come back here on AM 560.
The Answer.